Welcome to another episode of Sunday Superversive Livestream. I am your host, Benjamin Wheeler, and I'm here with Scott Huggins of Raconteur Press, a new author soon to be released. No, I'm sorry. To be clear, new author for Raconteur Press. He's been around. He was actually in Superversive Press with me way back in the day. But we're talking about his new release, Through a Spyglass, Darkly. How are you doing today, Scott?
I'm doing great today, Ben. I'm glad to be here, and thanks for having me.
Oh, it is a pleasure, especially for the old Superversive heads. I'm always up for promoting their work. Um, so you've been around. You have got a decent amount of short stories, I believe. You've also got. Could you remind me of your other book series that has been released that we have promoted on this show?
Sure. I believe you promoted the series that I started with Superversive Press. So that's the sort of dark humor fantasy. Uh, that's the James and Harriet series about
That's right.
the veterinarian to the evil dark lord of the world. So he's the guy who has to keep the giant spiders and basilisks and dragons alive. And so, yeah, those two books are still out. They're all things huge and hideous, all creatures thrall. And I promise I am working on the third one. I've just had a lot of actual talking. Um,
Yes.
Also, right now, I have a series out with Canon Pub, the Wish Killer Saga, which has its first two books out, A Cold and Mortal Spring and War of the Shattered Moon. And I'm hard at work on the third one of that one.
Excellent. Uh, yeah, I remember all things huge and hideous. I remember the cover, which was very good. It had a large dragon with a giant thermometer in its mouth. Um,
Yep, that's it.
though I now realize, speaking after all these years, it was a foolish enjoyment. A glass couldn't hold up to the temperature that a dragon's going to put out, even a sick one. How could I be so foolish, Scott? How could I?
Well,
No.
I always assumed that the thermometer that you would use for a dragon would have to be made out of diamond.
Oh, of course. Of course, and that's a glass-like substance in the right temperament and all that good stuff. I'm back on board. Um, so, over the course of things, as any good author does, you're now releasing a new book, Through a Spyglass, Darkly. Let's see here. I'll just read out the summary from the publisher. One of the most feared inhumans in Christendom, Jahan Dark, is a half-Gordon assassin who can kill with a glance. But, excuse me, when she finds that the ravening Holy Roman Empire has murdered her mother for a weapon that will finally subjugate its neighbors, Jahan is set on a path of revenge against an enemy too great to kill with mere power and skill. Jahan defies both the Order of Assassins and the Empire to propose an alliance with the young King Michael, whose kingdom of Armorica, excuse me, is the Empire's first target. Can they trust each other enough to face destruction and take vengeance on their foes that will challenge death itself? Or will their triumph shatter the very kingdom they fight to save? Now that is dramatic. I like it. Hmm. So why don't you tell us? I've given the corporate summary, we'll say. How about in your own words? Why don't you talk a bit about the book?
Okay, well, this started when I asked, how awesome would it be, or how terrible would it be, Oregon a telescope? And all of a sudden, you've got kill you from miles away.
Right.
That was that was just one part, but the whole idea is this, this book is set in an alternate reality, Europe. There really was a kingdom of Armorica. Armorica is a place to Brittany in western France. It's far from Normandy, actually. See, in the province of Brittany, what is spoken, they also speak a Celtic language called, and I kind of, in my world, there are Inhumans, a lot of the sort of, but so history has taken a turn. No real kingdom of, there are many, and one of them, independent kingdom of Armorica, King Michael, and King Michael is accused by a usurper of not being, and this usurper has a terrible magical weapon, which is too great for him to face alone. But with Jahan Dark on his side, he and she together may be able to overcome the Holy Roman Empire. Now, in real history, the Holy Roman Empire was a pretty weak, loose empire, didn't have a lot of power. But in my alternate history, it is a very strong empire, and it is trying to rebuild the old Roman Empire in its own way.
Trey, cool. Yeah, and they're near each other enough. It all works out. The whole
I think I may have lost your audio.
Huh? Testing 1 2 3 1 2 3 testing.
I can see that you're talking, but I can't hear you.
Let me. Where is? I'm sorry, folks. We'll figure this out.
Okay. Let's see. Let
me just make sure that the sound is coming through on the live stream, and then we'll go from there. Because that's the important thing. You need to be hearing me, baby. Alright, he's probably on Facebook Messenger.
Okay, not sure if anybody can hear me. Looks like we're having some technical difficulties, folks. Sorry. Trying to figure this out. Oh, shoot. Hey, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Oh,
I can hear you.
Somehow Hey, can you talk again? I'm sorry. Somehow my volume auto muted.
Yeah, that happens.
That was weird. Okay. Right. Okay. Sorry about that. So anyway, that's what the book's about. Go ahead, please.
Right. Yeah, no, that's Trey cool. Interesting stuff all around. The use of a Gorgon's as, let me rephrase that. So the history of the Gorgon, basically Medusa, depending on who you listen to, was anything from a victim of Poseidon's interests to a jilted lover. Again, depending on who you listen to. And of course, in the course of Perseus's myth, he beheads her and uses her to slaughter the elites of the kingdom by turning them to stone, and then I assume burying them in an unusually archaeologically unusual place. Just a second.
One would hope.
I know, right? Welcome, Anthony. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, you have to imagine digital archaeologists 1,000 years in the past finding deep fried memes. Yes, this one was a high priest of the internet, and it's a million rare Pepes in a folder. This was a wealthy landowner, surely, and not a gentleman in a one bedroom apartment or something. No. Yes, deep fried, iFunny watermark. Clearly been downloaded and re-uploaded 1,000 times. A merchant class. So, um, excuse me. Anyway, point is that Perseus does use the Medusa as a weapon to take his kingdom, as well as kill the Leviathan monster, which I know has its own name that was menacing Andromache, but I cannot remember it offhand.
I can't remember what it was either.
It was. I'm going to look it up. I am attached to the greatest collection of knowledge in the world.
Wouldn't have been Typhon, would it?
No. Because it's specifically the one that was forcing the kingdom to offer up Andromeda. Okay, it's not Andromache.
Cetus, that was it.
There we go.
Cetus. And of course, that's where we get the word cetacean.
Yep. Oh, Andromache is the wife of Hector. Andromeda, yes.
It's the evil whale that's going to come. We don't have any evil whales. I will say that.
That's just a slam dunk. I don't know. No, that's probably fine. From what I vaguely remember of your book, it wasn't really a seafaring adventure.
No, not really.
A long time ago, we're talking, oh my goodness, maybe more than half a decade ago, I was a beta reader for Scott with Ann Lewis, and I will apologize to the crowds I disdain, that I do not remember more of a book I read. Turns out if it doesn't have pictures, I just don't remember. I just don't remember.
Oh, well, I am the worst about pictures. In fact, I got in one review, said that I had committed the cardinal sin by not including maps. So I made sure to include maps for this one.
Oh, good.
It's a lot easier when you actually have your novel set in Europe. You don't have to make up the land masses.
Right. Yes, Anthony?
I'm here. No, sorry. I've been trying to get my microphone connected. It's been being annoying.
Excellent.
So what you hear is me muttering annoyances to myself in the background.
Very Italian of you. Patriotic, practically. Yeah. So, so it's actually relatively faithful to the original myth to use Medusa as a weapon. It's one of the almost, how do I want to put it, like tragedies of the various characters of Greek myth who have gotten great power. They never seem to be able to use it for ends beyond their own internal conflicts. Yeah. What do you think of that, Scott?
Well, I mean, this is part of the conflict about that is driving my main character, Jehan Dark. I mean, as a half Gorgon, she's got the problem that her gaze is a weapon, whether she wants it to be or not. So she. Part of the reason she became an assassin is that essentially she was tired of, she figured that as long as everyone was going to treat her as a potential murderer, no matter how she lived, you might as well live up to it. People always going to treat you like you're horrible. Go ahead and be horrible. Only she found that was not really a solution either, and so we kind of catch up with Jehan Dark as she realizes that she started out knowing, well, I can't deny my nature, but embracing it hasn't worked out completely either. So she's going to have to do something harder, which is actually live in this world that is dominated by humans and not just use it as an excuse to be a murderer.
I dig it. I dig it. And of course, there's romance and stuff in there. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, there is some romance. The idea that you can in fact fall in love with a human is something that comes up. And of course, for our other protagonist, King Michael, he's got the more typical human side of this whole thing. So watching Jahan and Michael, figure out how to live together, quite literally how to stay alive together, is part of the adventure and one of the reasons that writing the book was so much fun.
Well, I mean, it's a pity they weren't born in this generation. The lack of eye contact would be absolutely vital for their happiness.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it would be a thing. Generation Alpha. It doesn't matter. You're always looking at somebody through a screen, right? So, I mean, we know that meeting a Gorgon's gaze through a mirror, because that's how Perseus killed her.
Yes.
Killed Medusa. You can look through at a Gorgon through a mirror and live.
Yep.
But so one presumes that doing so with a television or through a phone screen would also be an effective way to discuss such things.
Right. She could just pretend to be a VTuber. Yes, I'm actually a Gorgon VTuber. No, I don't do fan meetups. That's a very lifelike model. That's a very, I spent a lot of money on this,
Those snakes on your hair are AI. I know it's AI.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the AI would be smarter if she gets bit by one of them from the insult. I always like that trope, by the way, of Medusa's hair, the Gorgon hair or whatever, not having their own minds. It's very adorable.
Yeah,
in
there
that
you
way.
go.
I suppose the next question is there's a genre of fiction. I was actually watching a video that was it's not like the person would know that I was about to have you on as a guest. But there was a video I was watching about animal brides and bridegrooms. So there's many different myths about that. The classic for the male, for the woman as bride. We'll say, since this is about your protagonist is a woman, to a animal bridegroom is usually, once you get past the skin deep nature of it, he's actually quite a catch, perhaps even a prince. For the woman as animal bride, usually it's a matter of coercion or kindness that brings the woman in, and there are restrictions. And after that, either if the restrictions are broken, for example, the Selkie finds her coat, or he breaks the rule that the animal bride gave him.
Myth that so
Yes.
the man compels the Selkie by taking her transformative seal skin.
Yes. That is, of course, the Selkie version. There's also You May Have Me as a Bride, and of course, this is a lone hunter, an incel, a sensitive young man like ourselves. If
only.
Who, of course, gladly accepts her, but eventually his curiosity overcomes in a similar manner to the Psyche myth, and he beholds her animal glory, and she disappears forever. Different from like the Orphic myth, in that there's not a permanent separation through death, but the betrayal of trust means the loss of the woman. I just wondered if
Go ahead.
I just wondered what sort of inspirations did you take from these myths, if at all, or if what interest you might have in them.
Well, I mean, honestly, I would have to say that while I drew quite a bit of inspiration from the original Perseus myth.
Did we lose our gentleman caller?
Okay.
Hello, are you there,
Can you hear
sir?
me?
Can you
Oh.
hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm back. Okay. But what I was going to say was that one of the things that
My goodness. Oh, we lost him.
Oh no. What a shame.
There he is. Oh.
It says Gorgon got him. From
Yep.
Sam Robb Wrights.
He's black and white on my
for,
screen.
Yeah, apologies for the sudden late arrival. I had a quizzing class, and I would have done it earlier, except my wife has been quite ill, and we just got back from urgent care. She's fine.
Oh.
Just sick. Yeah. By the way, have you heard that I got married, Ben? Oh no, I can't hear Ben either. What happened? He's gone.
Hey, well, I'm back.
Cool.
At least I think I'm back.
Nice. Okay. Ben seems gone. At least I don't hear him.
Ben is gone.
Yeah. At the very least, I don't hear him. So that leaves me. So here is the thing. I'm just going to be real with you. I am late because I had a quiz in a college class and my wife was quite sick. So I just got back from urgent care. Had no time to do the quiz. She's fine, just ill. But some interviews we do are Anthony interviews and some are Ben interviews. This is a Ben interview. And now he's gone. Now it's an Anthony interview. Anthony interviewing Anthony. So it is my job to entertain all of you lovely people. How was your New Year? Mine was mostly very good.
Hey, I think I'm back.
Yes.
Cool.
I must apologize. I know at least some of these problems have been mine because my brave Chrome decided to die on me suddenly, but I'm not quite sure why Scott keeps pulling in and out. It's all right.
Okay, well, I'm going to try and do this answer again. So one of the things, I guess I was in some sense anti-inspired by the idea of sort of the captive bride thing. I mean, one of the challenges was, I mean, Jahan Dark is a very powerful character. You don't want her marrying a man who's a wimp. You've got to have her marry somebody or at least be interested in somebody who is brave enough to meet her on her own terms. And one of the things that was really fun to play with in this novel was what kind of guy is ready to do that? And part of the answer is a guy who's got literally nothing more to lose, but isn't interested in bargaining away his power and independence just so he can not die. And so this is not necessarily going to be smooth sailing between the two of them, but it will be, in a sense, on equal terms. He has the political power, he has the army, she is a Gorgon.
I like it. Danger and play. It's all a man could want. That was a meme on the esoteric right-wing Twitter for a bit. Listen, there's a good old comic. Sorry to tell you this, kid. It's a bunch of cooks and there's a dishwasher going, no one knows how esoteric I am. And educated in deep lore. It's like, sorry, kid, we're all actually esoteric and educated in deep lore. Greek lore is, of course, one of our fancies here in the Superversive. Livestream. So I guess if you weren't inspired by it, uh, is there some more modern influences that took hold of you?
Yeah, I'd say it's that probably Lois McMaster Bujold is definitely one of my influences. I love the Vorkosigan saga. I love the Curse of Kalian books. So, in some sense, this was probably something that took hold of me. Also, probably the other major influence might have been Jim Butcher. And I'm really excited to read 12 Months in less than a week now when it comes out. No, not less than a week, less than 2 weeks. So I'm really looking forward to being able to dive into that one. But I have to thank Jim Butcher for getting me to actually write a story in which the Fae come into it, because I generally don't like the Fae. But the way Jim Butcher wrote them kind of made me want to write a story where they were going to be in play. And so, yeah, we're gonna have they exist in this world too.
Oh, of course. Uh, Jim Butcher was also a semi-inspiration. Uh, but for some of the Fae and Pinkerton's ghosts, his courts are vivid, absolutely vivid. And how the
Oh
characters
yes.
interact with each other. Queen Mab especially just shines as a devious character. Um, as well as, like it's one of those things where I saw something for a new show called The Pit, and it was like, "Hey, could you talking to a black woman in nurse what's it called? Um, Not fatigues, nurse gown, going, "Oh, could you call a doctor for us? Oh, I am the doctor." It's like that's a cheap that's like a heel in wrestling poking out somebody's eye. Like it's cheap. It's cheap heat. Oh, you roughed up his girlfriend or whatever. But actually having someone exude power and exist within a powerful state without having to, especially in our era, like the powerful woman tropes that everyone actually hates. When actually left alone with their thoughts. It was masterfully done. And then, of course, we ourselves mixed it with John C. Wright's more medieval elves for, I think, a good mix. But I think, if I recall correctly, you kind of went with the medieval elves yourself, didn't you?
Medieval elves do exist in the Inhuman in the Adventure on Dark. They are, elves. Elves are race.
Right.
And the thing about the thing about the well, I mean, for want of a word, theology of this world is, the interpretation that by the church in my world, that go out and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. This was, in a sense, a specific thing for humans, and humans are, while other beings exist, human power partly because they are simply the most numerous. And the other beings really do have to deal with humans on some level, whether to or not, and some of them by hiding out in the and having as little to do with humans as possible, but have simply set up beside humans and live with them and work with them, but they are not human. And elves tend to be very art, aesthetics, beauty that has substance.
I gotcha. Elf has a how do I want to put it? Inspiration for art over, say, a muse or something has always been a pretty good trope, even though it almost always ends in very poor circumstances for the inspired, so to
I
say.
mean, in this world, Elf.
Did we lose the gentleman again? I think. Are you still there, sir?
Very sad.
Maybe we lost the
He is
connection.
an
I don't know.
interesting guest.
Oh, you're
Hey,
back, sir. There we go.
woohoo!
Yes, sir.
Okay, there we are. So, but I mean,
Maybe.
I think that would happen. No.
Right.
Am I back on? I'm back on. Okay. You wouldn't
Yes,
want
sir.
necessarily an elvish artist to make a portrait because they probably wouldn't be able to portray. You'd probably heard of you in the uncanny valley.
Sort of more connected to your soul. Maybe Oliver Wilde in A Picture of Dorian Gray. The portrait
maybe
was, in
so.
fact, elvish in
Yeah.
nature.
Maybe so.
I like it. I do agree, like that sort of thing, partially because I do believe that art is a connection to the soul in ways that most people, quite frankly, don't want to think about. That which, especially in the creation of it, that which you are will come out. To the point where I can tell things about people just from their art, because at some point you just don't want to hide what you are. For an elf, I assume that sort of thing, especially connected to the mystic, as they almost always are, the fanciful, the things that were, shall we say, beyond human, perhaps lost by humans because of the fall, is now only their domain, for better or for worse. That was very fancy, if I do say so myself. So let's talk more a bit about.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was thinking. Sorry, what was I about to say? Let's go back to the European humans a bit more. What made you choose Brittany and the Holy Roman Empire in general, I guess?
One of the reasons was that I've always been kind of interested happened if the Norman invasion had failed, and part of the thing, one of the bits that people don't know is that Normandy was not just at war with Harold of England, at the same time at war with Conan II, who was the king of Brittany. That would be Armorica, and Conan died during the Norman invasion. The story is because William set a trap for him. That William warned Conan, "Hey, while I'm conquering England, you better not invade Normandy." And Conan said, "Oh, I will definitely invade Normandy." And he invaded Normandy, took a castle, and the first castle he took, he was going through and enjoying all the loot. He pulled on a pair of gloves, and it turns out the gloves had been poisoned. And so Conan II died, and he was the last king of an independent Brittany, which later got conquered by the growing kingdom of France. So in this particular story, William of Normandy dies in England, and therefore it is Normandy that is diminished, and not Brittany. Brittany remains an independent kingdom, the Kingdom of Armorica. And so I ask myself, I mean, one of the reasons that William of Normandy could, in fact, invade France was that in 1066, the French king didn't have a lot of control over his nobles. Now, that changed during the reign of such notably bad kings as King John, and notably good and strong French kings like King Philip II Augustus. But what if it hadn't? What if, in fact, it had been Germany under the Holy Roman Empire that had united and become strong, and the French speakers of former Gaul had always just stayed weak and disunited, helped along by the prodding of the Holy Roman Empire, which is essentially just a mirror version of what happened in real history, where the stronger Kingdom of France kept messing around with the Holy Roman Empire, encouraging revolts, making sure that the emperors would never really get strong. There were other reasons for that. It wasn't just the French, but the French certainly helped that process along anytime they could, because it wasn't their interest to have a strong German neighbor, as we have certainly seen. So there's that. I've got a comment here on the chat. Says, Scott, looking forward to this book or two. I want more Wish Killer 2. I am definitely working on the Wish Killer book. The only reason this book came out before the third Wish Killer book is it was already written before I ever published the first two Wish Killer books. So Wish Killer 3 is my highest priority right now. I assure you, and thank you. I'm so glad you like it.
Yeah, this I promise you, this book has been around. Like I said, I don't really do. There was a time I did do beta readings for people, but this was more than a decade ago. I think it feels like it was before COVID, is what I'm trying to say.
I think it was before COVID, just before it. But yeah, I think it was. I don't think it was a whole decade ago, but it was certainly more than 5 years ago.
I'm old. I'm thinking in terms of decades.
Yeah, I know. Me too, man. It sucks.
It's like it's everything I wanted as a kid, but at the same time, it's like, oh,
it's so many things I didn't.
Yes, exactly. Oh well. Don't think about dying. Don't think about age creeping up. Don't think about age. Anyway. No, if only I could be turned to stone, as young and beautiful as I am now. There's a few good, more modern myths, really, where in like Warhammer, it's like the person goes to Slaanesh, the demon of excess, with his beautiful body, and he's like, I wish to be this beautiful forever, and the demon, of course, laughs and goes, it can be done, and then turns him to stone.
Oh yeah, there you go. Well, that certainly is that certainly is central to the whole wish kill. All the wishes turn out to be poisoned in some way. You have to be very, very careful to get a wish not going to end up being much worse for than you wanted it to.
Yeah. There's a pretty funny video where this guy gets a genie, and he actually goes, no, I'm actually prepared for this. Whips out a notepad, and then starts going, my first wish is that I can talk this out with you, the genie. And you must tell me, the ironic, basically he has this long speech about the genie has to tell him what the ironic punishment is for any wish he suggests.
Yeah, that's smart. Get two wishes, they're good ones,
right? Well, I mean, of course, it gets subverted. And he goes, he stumbles on something. It's like an attic, and he goes, "Oh man, I wish we could see better." And he goes, "Granted." It's like, "Oh no, I wasted it." And he's like, "Yeah, sorry, you wasted it, bud." And then he blinks. He's like, "Oh, well, I can't see better." Wait, is the scraping sound going to be forever? Yeah, that's the ironic twist. You see really, really good for the rest of your life, except every time you blink, you hear it. And he's like, "Oh, this is actually horrible." All right, never mind. And eventually, he tries to get $1 million without crashing the economy, and just gets $1 million Jamaican dollars,
You
which is still
get
not bad.
millions of Zimbabwean dollars, which will buy you a single Necco wafer.
You may enjoy these billions and billions of Zimbabwe dollars for exactly one McChicken. But yes, no, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Ironic Wishes, and Geniedom in general. But it's all part of a greater mythic tapestry. I think it's fairly underestimated with like how much we can still tap into the ancients. The modern stuff, the subversions and stuff has been played out. My favorite tactic when people try to play feminist cards against me is just going, we don't do that anymore. We're just done with it. Sorry. I understand where you're coming from, but we're just not doing that. What do you mean? You can't decide that. No, listen. We're done.
Well, I mean, one of the things, go back to sort of an earlier point, I really did not want Jahan Dark to be a girl boss. I mean, that was certainly not the idea. She's supposed to be, I mean, is she very powerful? Sure. But Ripley was powerful. Sarah Connor was powerful, and they weren't annoying. They weren't this like annoying trope. They also, Sarah Connor was half crazy. She screwed up all the time. Ripley was strong. She was very limited to do. She was amazingly competent within her field, and she certainly was the character who understood the aliens the best. But Superwoman, no, just very, very at surviving, which isn't a characters.
Oh yeah.
And since that's what I wanted to do with Jahan Dark. I wanted a character who would be, completely different. Sarah Connor and Ripley are nothing like Jahan Dark, and she is nothing like them, except in the basic, I hope, sense of being a interesting character with her own strengths and weaknesses.
I feel very dumb because I've been listening to this entire discussion and only just connected in my mind. And Ben knows this. I'm a huge fan of Saint Joan of Arc, right? That John Dark is Joan of Arc. Like, I've been hearing John Dark, and then wait, John, Jean, Dark, oh.
Yes, there is definitely a reference, but really it doesn't go a lot more than the name. And if you're a fan, I've put at least a couple of Easter eggs in there. But this is she is not going to be. First of all, she's not a virgin. Second of all, she's quite a bit older than the historical Joan of Arc.
Yes. It's an interesting conversation. It was a lot bigger years ago. Ben is right, kind of in the sense that, like, in a way, the best response is just to go, sorry, we're done with this discussion. But years ago, it dominated the conversation for a while. And I wrote an article on it that got some agreement, some pushback and things like that. Some people who were like, it didn't go far enough. But I called it the brotherhood principle. So my favorite, probably just my favorite show, certainly my favorite anime, is called Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I love it. It's amazing.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, you should. One of the best things I've ever seen in my life. It's like 65 episodes. once you get to past the first 16, they're like sort of a summary version of a previous version of the show that aired. And then after the first 16 episodes, it like kicks into high gear and it's just incredible for the rest of the run. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. This isn't meant to be a review of that. I called it the Brotherhood Principle because I thought that Full Metal Alchemist, just as a franchise, it was based on the manga, and Brotherhood is like a direct adaptation of the manga, was exceptionally good at handling its female characters in a way that made them interesting, but powerful and lovable. It has some of the most beloved female characters in probably fiction when you consider worldwide impact, you know. And I'm trying to figure out why, because you have soldiers who are female, some of them who are like very don't need no man style. You have mothers, you have people who have no combat ability at all, just the full mix, all very well loved, right?
Right.
And I was trying to work out what is it doing differently, because I kind of agree. I love these characters, and yet I am also completely tired of like these sort of, you know, feminist stereotypes and whatever. And the conclusion I came to was that if you are going to create a female character who is going to be on the same level in some sort of masculine endeavor as a man, the audience intuitively knows that this is not really possible in real life, right? And you can't get around that. Therefore, you need to either sacrifice some essential portion of their femininity that they are using to gain this sort of ability. For example, you have a character in the show who becomes one of the most powerful alchemists, like the magic users. Doesn't matter, right? Just assume magic user, right? Wizards in the series. How is she able to do this? Well, she loses her ability to have children. Right? This is like a major plot point, you know, that she cannot have children, and this turns her into this unbelievably powerful alchemist. Now, it's a tragedy. She wishes she could have children. This is what makes her a positive character. She's not an abortionist, right? Like, she's not somebody who gave it up intentionally. It's actually the opposite. She was like trying to bring her dead child back to life, and it backfired, you know. So she's this beloved character. Or you need to be subordinate to an equally strong or stronger man. So you have a character who is a soldier, who is, again, beloved character named Lieutenant Hawkeye. One of my favorite characters. She is intensely loyal to her commanding officer, Mustang, who is even more powerful than she is, right? And for that reason, it works. And this works with all of the characters. You have a character who like leads a unit of men, Olivier Armstrong. It's more subtle with her, but it is heavily implied that she is going to always remain single and by choice. She has given up any sort of feminine vocation, right? In order to be a powerful woman. Now, a man can get married. A man can do that because we understand that men are meant to be in that position. But a woman needs to give up some aspect of her femininity. Or they need to be intentionally contrasted with someone who is as strong or stronger than they are, right? In order for you to accept it. I called this the Brotherhood Principle. Some people disagreed. Like, I remember Vox Day was like, no, I think it's still absurd, right? And I'm like, well, I think you're missing the point. I understand it's still absurd. Like, it's not literally true. It's about what is the viewer going to accept, right? Like, obviously, the fact that you give up a wife and family doesn't mean you're automatically going to be good at this. But for the viewer to accept it, they need to see some sort of trade, right? Or they need to see that contrast with a male figure who they are intentionally subordinate to, again, in a traditionally masculine way. And other people were just like, well, this is sexist and it's not true. And I'm like, all right, you know, do it your way, but people aren't going to like it. You know, you could try. They're still not going to accept it. It's a very interesting balance. St. Joan of Arc is...
Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily going to... I guess my take... I'm not sure it's not even simpler than that. I'm thinking on 5, which had wonderful, strong. How do you get better, strong characters than Susan Eva and Ambassador Delenn? I mean, these are kick-ass characters. And frankly, part of me just, you know, the answer is you don't surround them with our schlubs. You know,
I agree with you. I would say that that's kind of part of what I'm saying, though, but it's even more than that. If you have this character who is in a traditionally masculine field, right? But and they are, let's say, you got to be very specific about this, right? They are the greatest sword fighter in the world. Well, this is absurd. A woman is not going to be the greatest sword fighter in the world. She's not going to be in the top 500, maybe not the top 1,000, right? Even the very, very
Probably
best.
not.
We see this in all levels of physical sports, right? It can't happen. However, in fiction, this is not a necessarily impossible character to have, right? But if you're going to do it, I'm going to need, in my opinion, from what I've, or I should say, I don't want to qualify within my opinion, because that's sometimes the thing that people use to get out of criticism. No, you could criticize me. I might be wrong. So forget my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that in order for the viewer to accept it, you do need one of these things. And one of them, you're right, like having powerful male characters around you who are not going to be intimidated by this person, right? Like that's a big part of it, you know.
See, I think that is the absolute that is the trap that it's almost a counterintuitive trap. Because I can see the logic, you know, of you can almost get inside these writers' heads, and they're like, well, I want, you know, Rey Skywalker to be a super badass Jedi, so no man can outshine her. And the effect was that they surrounded Rey with a bunch of guys who were schlubs and who could not possibly be respected at all while Rey was in the room. And the problem with that is that the only way that makes a star shine brighter is if the star was fairly dim in the first place. And so, yeah, I mean, it didn't work because the principle for getting awesome characters is that steel sharpens steel. And these people want to, you know, the people who tried to make the girl bosses, they just wanted their steel to shine because it was surrounded by brass and copper. And that's a very limited utility. You know, you want, and you know, Susan Ivanova is loyal to John Sheridan. You know, so is Delenn. On the other hand, Delenn is not terribly subservient to any male Minbari. I mean, except for very briefly, and we only see this in flashback, her mentor Dukat, who was, by the way, a brilliant character, even though he only showed up for one episode. But I just think that really it's you know, if you're going to have your women compete, and frankly, I do, especially on the physical level, at least, I do absolutely agree with you. You know, you're really going to have to do something wild to have me accept that a woman is going to be the best swordsman in the world. Something's going to happen. On the other hand, you know, there's certainly nothing that says that a woman couldn't be, for example, the smartest physicist on the planet. Maybe that could happen.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's a big difference, though, right? Like, because what we're talking about there is something that isn't. That's why I was trying to be very specific. Like, when you think of something specifically masculine, one of my favorite movies for a long time. Now I think I look back on it and I go, I still think it's good, but I think it's more flawed than I originally thought years ago. But I still like it. Still worth talking about. In the sci-fi genre is Serenity, right?
Yes.
You probably know. I think it's a very good movie. Well, yes, River is a super incredible, unbelievable, ultra mega badass fighter who can take out entire armies with her fighting skills, despite being 90 pounds soaking wet, right? Yes. Okay. Well, why is this the case? Well, she has been experimented on by a shadowy government force that has tried to turn her into a living weapon.
Yes.
Great. But I think that the reason that people never really had, I still don't, and people never really had an issue with the character of River, even in Serenity, is that she, like, the power came at a massive sacrifice, right?
Well,
which it goes to what I was talking about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and like a permanent sacrifice. You know, River's mental state never fully recovered. You know, she is a she's horrendously traumatized throughout the entirety of the show up to the end of the movie. And she doesn't really like recover. She improves, sure. It's not like she stays static, but it's not like she's like, now I'm normal again, so I just have these powers with no drawback. Like, no, the drawback was very real, very long lasting. I don't think you necessarily need this. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was really going to just build on what you said. I mean, this is true. You can find examples of this in real life. I mean, there are certainly people, men and women, but you can certainly think of women, and I guess the most, I mean, like for example, Olympic level gymnastics, who, like they can do incredible things. And gymnastics, of course, is a field. I mean, some of these women can do things that no man would ever be able to do because, frankly, the male body is just too bulky.
Yeah.
You can't turn it and bend it the way you can a female body because, physics doesn't scale that way. But also, I mean, a lot of these women, they grow up and they didn't really have a childhood. They had to sacrifice a lot that a normal person takes for granted to get those little gold medals. And I mean, frankly, Jahan Dark is, in a sense, the same way. I mean, first of all, she has a power that is quite literally inhuman. But, her home life was weird. Her father married a full-on Gorgon on purpose. Her dad was not a normal man. He just wasn't. And she didn't grow up
Right.
in anything like, I mean, she would not be normal under the best of circumstances.
I just had thoughts of like the Colonel Quatrich memes, where it's like he's going after his crazy Catwoman bride, which is the only culturally relevant thing to come out of the new Avatar movie. Colonel Quatrich, the most racist man alive, and his Catwoman wife.
Oh, wow. I didn't know about that one. Haven't seen those movies.
Basically, Colonel Quatrich is the human villain.
Yeah.
And he goes after the Na'vi, blah, 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 who are the perfect Native Americans and such.
Dances with Smurfs.
Yes. And then he gets soul transferred by a backup body. Memories flashed into a blank Na'vi body. And finds the love of his life, a crazy Na'vi living on a mountain, and more than willing to kill her own kind. But no, I was just thinking. Sorry, it's just a bunch of I want to have sex with this crazy monster memes just flash through my head like a dog drooling at the sound of a bell. But continue.
No, I was pretty much done. It's just there does have to be, I want Jahan to be, she's one of these characters almost like, in a sense, Data from Star Trek. Very different, obviously, but she, in a sense, she is learning to be human and not to lose her Gorgon side either. And this is one of sort of the central developments of character throughout the whole novel. Anyway, I'm just really excited to have you guys read it. I hope you love it. There have been a few people who've read it and who've loved it. And I hope you'll find it vastly improved from the beta version that you did read.
There better be enough monster X male romance in there, Scott. I'm a man of high quality, high standing.
Well, I mean, Brackenshire kind of has a fade to black policy, so it's there's limited
no
spiciness
sex, only
here.
romance.
Yeah,
never sex, only romance.
Oh well, romance is there. I can promise you.
It's like a brush of the hands. I bet you're falling in love right now. Sweating, dabbing my forehead. Oh, they almost kissed. Oh, uh, after all, what is the modern world? But man, finding a monster of his very own, and showering her with all kinds of affections. No,
Oh,
I do have fond memory, even though it's difficult for me to remember that far back. I promise you, if you're asking me about my childhood, I only know the vague themes, which is fine by me. These things are to be enjoyed in the moment. Um, quite frankly, I do not believe the equal to men like G.K. Chesterton or Lewis or Dostoevsky are alive today. Even great men like John C. Wright, um, cannot match. And pretty soon, I am waiting for Dostoevsky AI bot to write its book of gold and then immediately kill itself. Um,
oh, that's sad.
Dostoevsky AI is fulfilling its the true soul of the great thing because it recognizes its own soullessness. Um, no, I'm down. I'm looking forward to appreciate it. I'm swamped with books for a change in life I am making. Um, but I promise you, I always try to at least throw a few bucks towards my friends, as well as former superversive types who did not burn it down at a peak. These things are always to be treasured, and it's a thing of the modern time. We were discussing before the stream of Quentin Tarantino saying that he hates 80s movies and 50s movies. I kind of get the 50s movies, as I said, but like I said, I don't really get it because it comes up with like Alien and Terminator and all these other things. And while there were plenty of bad and schlocky movies and stuff like that, there were years where it was just blockbuster after blockbuster after blockbuster, and not like a fake blockbuster either. Captain Marvel opening to record-breaking sales and empty seats. Um, but like true this, and I think there's a more than an argument to be made to enjoy um, the pieces of art of the time. Uh, I think I'm bringing Anthony into this because I did have a plan, Anthony, and I'd like your opinion on this too, Scott. I can't remember who it was on Twitter, and quite frankly, it doesn't matter. But they were aping the Jeffro Johnson quote of "read nothing before 1980." I mean, after 1980. Excuse me.
Oh yeah, I was just looking at that. Let me pull it up. I still
And
have it in my. Yep.
as a matter of interest, unless you need to go right now, Scott, I was just hoping to have your opinion on it, since you were in the not quite the same circles, but of the same greater circle.
Wait, read nothing written after 1980?
Yeah.
Yes,
So
Well, what am I going to do? I didn't read it.
that was
Exactly.
also our reaction.
Good
So this
heavens.
is an old
Then-
Jeffro
then
Johnson.
If
I'm
people
sorry.
followed that advice, nobody would read my stuff. That's terrible advice. No, I think there's been quite a bit written that's worthwhile after the 1980s. But I always liked C.S. Lewis's advice that you should read one old book for every new book.
Ooh, I do like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Go for
So
it.
this whole thing, if you go back to probably 5 years ago, I would guess, maybe a little more, Jeffro used to be really big in our scene. He wrote Appendix N. He kind of kickstarted a lot of like the revolution of writing that we're talking about. This is also when Superversive as a movement was really big. Superversive is still around, but it's a little smaller. Although in a way, it's kind of in a weird way, it's kind of a good thing. It's like the central superversive concept has dissipated, but the overall concept has spread out and kind of gotten its roots in some of our people, which is great and what it should have done. But anyway, going back to this, right? Jeffro he read Appendix N. It's like, I feel betrayed because all of these great books are not being represented anymore. Nothing that's being made in the modern day is taking its proper inspiration. There's no really, we shouldn't be Like, don't even read anything past 1980. It's garbage. Now, obviously, he is being hyperbolic. He recommended certain authors, right? Like, he was a fan of John C. Wright, who wrote past 1980. But that was the rhetoric that was going in. I sort of get it, but as I've been in the scene for a while and I've thought about it more, I have come to reject it. And for the reason that you said, and this is, if you think about it, the exact same argument that the left makes when they say, why are there no good right-wing artists? Why can't right-wingers make art? You're making the same argument, but from the opposite direction, right? Yep. You are telling me that there's nothing since 1980. The right hasn't made good art since 1980. There's nothing we can consume. And then when I push back and it's like, well, obviously you just don't get it. And then I said, you would be surprised because Jeffro emailed me personally and asked me to write for the Castalia House blog when he was the editor-in-chief. So I worked under Jeffro. He was my editor. Yeah. And we actually clashed a few times. I say clash with quotation, imagine quotation marks, right? Debated, right? A few times. I disagreed with him on a few things. He changed my mind about some things. I changed my mind about his mind about some things. So I was very familiar with Jeffro's work. I worked with Jeffro. I like him. We got along, right? Like, even though we disagreed, we had a good working relationship. So no, I do get it. I know what he was trying to say. I know what he was trying to do. I understand it's a rhetorical flourish. I have come to the conclusion it's bad rhetoric. I don't like it as a rhetorical flourish because it diminishes the actual work that our side is doing, right? Don't read anything past 1980. What? You're saying that we're not making anything worth reading? Is that what you're trying to say? Because I don't agree with that. No, it's just rhetorical. We mean like most mainstream work. Okay, yeah, then why don't you point people to the work being made since 1980 that they should be reading? Because I could think of a lot of examples, and I think telling people to try and just avoid it and only go before 1980 is a way of stagnating the culture. I don't think this is good rhetoric. I don't think this is the right way to think about things, and I think that this attitude is just going to make us stagnate. So I don't agree with it. I don't know if Jeffro would still say this. He's not been on Twitter. There were even some people in my comments, because I posted about this on Twitter, and there were some people in my comments who were like, screw Jeffro, he didn't support authors. And I just said, whoa, okay, I worked well with Jeffro. You can have whatever opinion you want of him. I'm not going to badmouth him, right? Even if we don't agree on certain things. But and then it's like, no, he wasn't supportive of other authors. It's like, well, he's not really obligated to be. He doesn't need to support anyone he doesn't want to support. He doesn't need to, he could criticize whoever he wants to criticize. If you're not making the work that he doesn't like, he's not obligated to say that he likes it, Nevertheless, I get the frustration. I'm not you. You can have any issues you want with him. I don't have an issue with him, but I don't agree. If this is still the rhetoric he's using, I don't agree with this rhetoric. I don't like it.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, gentlemen, right. I really appreciate you having me on. So thank you very much.
We also appreciate you coming on, Scott. These things are always fantastic to support. It's coming out January 28th. You will have a my goodness, pre-order link before then.
I will be sending out the pre-order link as soon as it drops on January 14th.
I think you're most active on Facebook, I want to say.
I am, but I've also been getting more active on X and Instagram and Substack.
Excellent. Substack's pretty great. I do like that quite a bit compared to some of the other ones, especially WordPress.
Yeah, I'm moving over to Substack.
Yeah, WordPress was cool in its time, but I think people forget how much it was just kind of the first actual popular thing to market. It's a pity. Have you, out of curiosity, do you post fiction to your Substack?
No. Well, to this point, no. But as I migrate more stuff over from WordPress, I probably will do so.
Yes, because the fiction from people seem to be moving to Royal Road. I just wondered. I don't know. I've read some things from Arbogast and a few other writers that have done well, but it's weirdly difficult to search through. And if you come up with a solution, let me know.
Okay, I will do that.
But yes, we'll be looking forward to your Substacks. We'll probably find each other on X, for better or for worse. X is where I put on the skull mask and my eyes glow, and et cetera, because I do firmly believe that there's no marketing solution apart from publishing and your own extremist beliefs. But no, we're looking forward to this. If only to continue the monster curl genre, which is truly the most oppressed of all gamers. I want to thank you for joining us. Do join us next week, where I've got something else. I can't remember. But I'll talk with Anthony and we'll see what we can do. We might be reading poetry. I think it'll be pretty nice. Have a good one, guys.
Mm-hmm.